story of the Gary Anderson era begins in Fort Collins, Colorado this weekend. Will this be the year the Beavers are bowl-bound? Oregon State's offense will be under new leadership as Jake Luton takes the reins at quarterback, while the defense has some lofty goals as the Young Bucks try to cement their status as stars. What will the season bring? We discuss on a brand new edition of Talkin Beavers. All quiet in Reeser this weekend as the Beavers head east to open up the 2017 campaign against Colorado State. Oregon State playing in the very first college football game of the season. Welcome into Talkin Beavers. Amanda Maynard, Lindsay Schnell, and our new addition. I think you'll recognize him, one of the Beavers' offensive stars of the program, Evanston Bernard. Thanks for joining us this season.
Yeah,
hopefully we're going to have a lot of fun.
Appreciate it. It'll be fun. I'm
hopefully
excited
talk about some wins.
Hopefully,
right?
Exactly. That's the big thing. That makes it a lot easier.
Right. And speaking of wins, I mean, this team, there's a lot of excitement, a lot of new pieces here. High hopes, it seems like, around year 3 of Gary Anderson. What do you expect the season brings?
They better go to a bowl game. The second that they beat the Ducks last year, that was the reality. That set an expectation that they were going to be bowl-bound in 2017. So, Ev, I think it's going to be tough. The Pac-12 North is really good, but I think they can do it. Yeah,
definitely. Bowl game is obviously the goal this year. You know, it's so funny. You go into a season and you don't want to talk about just going to a bowl game, but I think this year it's a priority that we need to go to a bowl game, get the fans back into it, get Beaver Nation, excited again.
Lindsay, you brought up the Civil War win, but ending the season like they did, back-to-back wins, what kind of momentum does this team have? How important is that during the offseason to kind of build on that?
Well, it was huge, and a big thing to remember is that when they beat the Ducks, and that was huge. It broke the streak. But their win over Arizona was actually a better game for them. They played like dominant start to finish. That's huge for them. They understand what that feels like, what that's going to take. Had a little bit of, people leaving, people going, a little bit of attrition in the offseason, as always happens. But now they go into 2017 healthy. You've had all this time to get bigger and stronger and faster in the weight room, and at this point, these are Anderson's guys. Yeah. There might be a couple holdovers from the previous regime, but they know his system, they know the expectations.
Yeah, this is the year. It's enough of we're young, right? We've been saying that for the longest time. This is year 3, and I know Coach Anderson probably knows that the program needs to take a change.
Well, and we were talking about it before the show. I mean, year 3 is what really changed things for him when he was at Utah State. So you kind of have that expectation that year 3, you really make a big jump forward. How important do you see this in his rebuild? I know coaches hate to say rebuilding, but in the new era, process.
Remodel, not a rebuild.
There we go.
In the remodel. Okay, so when you talk about Utah State with Gary Anderson at Utah State, they're at Utah State, they go to Hawaii, they're down like 20 points, I think in the first or second quarter. They come back, they win that game by 4. That was huge. It was a turning point for their program. Now, it would be good if Oregon State didn't go through let's go down 20 points in the first or second quarter. But I think that that's the type of momentum that you need to bring in, and that people, I agree with you. They've been saying they're young for 2 years. People are sick of hearing that. Yeah. People want to see success, and especially as they see other teams have success. You saw what women's basketball did last season. You saw what baseball did. People have a high expectation.
So is it bowl game or bust? Is the season not successful if there's no bowl game?
I mean, unless 9 players get injured that are starters, bowl game or bust.
Yeah, bowl game or bust.
What other intangibles are you looking for this season to measure that this team is moving in the right direction? I mean, do they have to have a certain amount of Pac-12 wins? Do they have to win all the non-conference games off the top? I mean, how are you going to measure success this season with this team?
So I would love to hear your thoughts on this, because one thing that I think that Oregon State was always known under Mike Riley for winning a game that it wasn't supposed to and losing some games that wasn't supposed to. I think that Oregon State needs to knock someone off this year that no one's anticipating. That will be a message to college football, we're here and we're getting better.
Yeah, for sure. But I think we're also trying to get away from the giant killer thing.
That's a good point.
We're tired of that. We want to be the team that teams come in and want to beat, right? We want to be the top dog. So, obviously I think the way we, define ourselves this year is by wins, period. I mean, that's it.
And I think specifically in the Pac-12 North, which is so tough and so loaded. And by the way, there's not a bad quarterback in this entire conference. If you can win some Pac-12 North games, that'll be huge.
And this team, when you look at the schedule from last year, there was quite a few games that were close losses for them. And of course, you never want to have moral victories. But I mean, how much do you think those are going to pay dividends for some of the younger guys? That it's like, okay, you know, you still have to learn how to win, but you know how to keep it close.
So I think a big thing is that last year when they lost at Minnesota, they didn't let it completely break them. That's going to be huge. Those young guys learn from that. And also, you know, there were weird things that happened in that game that could have changed the tide. So I think that a huge thing is going to be, first of all, they need to win at Colorado State, like period, the end. But the bigger thing is going to be if you suffer some losses, you have guys now in the locker room who have been through it, who understand it, and aren't going to let it define the season.
Right. Just rebounding from the loss. It's just how the team responds. And I think in last year we saw that towards the end of the season how we responded. You finished with 2, against Arizona and Oregon. That's huge. A lot of teams would have folded, right? They know they're not going to bowl game. Forget about it, So I think, we'll be all right.
All right, so we know it's bowl game or bust for this group. Coming up a little later in the show, we're going to catch up with Mike Parker. He's going to tell us what he thinks it's going to take for this group to reach their first bowl game since 2013. And an even better Ryan Nall will certainly help that cause, how he views the year and how he's getting along with his new teammate in the backfield.
Ryan Nall up to middle. He could go. Gone.
And good block by Stanton. Nall into the open field. 45-40, cuts back 30, 25-20, 15 to the 10. Touchdown, Beavers, 80 yards for Ryan Nall.
Well, no concern over the running back crew for Oregon State this season. Not only is Ryan Nall bigger, stronger, and faster this season, but they've added Thomas Tyner to complement him in the backfield. Our Lindsay Schnell sat down with Nall to catch up and see how he sees this year shaking out.
Okay, so Ryan, this offseason, you guys had a great end of the year. So what have you been thinking about, working towards, setting team goals?
Yeah, I mean, the end of the year was a great way for us to finish. It didn't necessarily go our way, but we finished with some momentum, and we took that momentum into winter break and into spring ball. We're still carrying that momentum, and we got a couple goals for us as a team and as units and as individuals, players, for us to kind of just, make sure that we're moving in the right directions. Some of the goals are weight goals, strength goals, and academic goals. Making sure that we're being the best as we can be.
Okay, so we're standing here in Research Stadium.
Yeah.
You grew up a Beaver fan, and you're a local kid. Now you got another local running back on the roster in Thomas Tyner. What will that be like? Have you thought about having like a 1-2 punch of 2 stud Northwest kids, what that means to the program?
Yeah, I mean, I thought about it, a couple times here and there, what it would be like, kind of 2 local guys kind of running the state. And I think it would be pretty cool seeing us, get back into it. I like where things are going.
Okay, so what have you been doing for fun?
I played a lot of golf. My girlfriend's dad is a turf specialist salesman, and he gets he helped me with some tips and stuff like that. So I was able to really kind of just get out there, and my dad lent me some of his old clubs, and I don't know. For some reason, I get really into golf for some reason. but I was
it's soothing.
It is soothing. It kind of takes your mind off of stuff, and especially when you're not having a good day, you can go out and hit it really hard, or you can just have fun with it.
Okay, last question, because we're standing in front of this huge, new, beautiful Valley Center.
Oh yeah.
What's your single favorite part about the remodel?
Definitely the locker room. I mean, it's the best. It's beautiful. It's big, spacious. It looks cool. I mean, the lockers are huge. We have our own cold and hot tubs in it. It's probably my favorite part of it, definitely.
So I think Nall and Tyner are going to be one of the most exciting parts of this team this season. To have 2 Northwest guys, two local products. One, how is that relationship coming along? And I mean, how big is that to have 2 stars, but from your territory?
Well, right off the bat, you know, Nall talked about wanting to be there for Tyner, build a relationship with him. He understands that Tyner's taken some time off. So I think that they had a friendship and they knew each other back in high school. That's huge too. But recruiting wise, you know, you want to own your state. And so this is something that Gary Anderson came in. That was his goal. Now you got new blood down in Eugene with Willie Taggart. And I think that it's just awesome for Oregon kids. If they're there, that you see two guys in the backfield.
One thing that was interesting with Nall is he mentioned his number one goal this season is to stay healthy, play a full season. And Gary Anderson has talked with him about just having an increased awareness of when the play needs to end. Because so many times, I mean, we'll just see him drag defenders and drag some more. And he was saying usually you won't tell a guy, hey, maybe you should stop here. It's like get every last inch. But they really are focused with him on trying to stay healthy, it seems like.
Yeah, well, I think the bottom line is they have a stable full of healthy backs, so he doesn't need to go crazy every single time and drag those guys. But I think that it just speaks to Ryan Nall's personality. Like, that's just what he is. He's always going to go the extra mile. He's never going to mail it in. But maybe he could be a little smarter, you know. There's a lot of chat about he's a very football savvy player. I think that's part of why he has success. Some of that is about being smart about your own health, especially for the future.
So what were some of the things that he told you that, you know, again, he's maybe worked on over the summer to get better?
So at this point in the season and in his career, it's like, how can you get bigger, stronger, faster? But he said it's more about incremental things so that you can stay healthy, because you know, the second that they play their first game, that's it. They're not going to be that healthy going forward the whole season. Football just slowly breaks down your body. But if he can maintain his weight, his diet, you know, his thing about playing golf is interesting, because we talked a lot about he has to approach things in a different way. And in football, if things aren't going well, he just ramps it up and goes crazy. In golf, you got to take a deep breath, evaluate the situation. I think that'll be huge for him.
And then things still might not go right in golf. That's how it always works out with me. We're going to get Evanson's take on Nall and this amazing crew of running backs coming up in just a few minutes. But in order for this team to reach a bowl game, they're going to have to put up a lot of points. Is Jake Luton capable of turning things around for the offense? And Colorado State doesn't have to worry about improving their offense too much. Which Rams weapons could do the most damage come Saturday? The Beavers will open up the season in Colorado State's $220 million stadium. It is completely sold out for this game, including standing room only tickets. It'll also be the school's first game on campus in nearly 50 years. It's also worth mentioning here that the Beavers are still looking for their first road win anywhere since October of 2014. And we're going to learn a little bit more about Colorado State in our Toyota Portland on Broadway tune-up. When you look at what Mike Bobo has done, this is year 3 for him. This is a really good team. I mean, they've been to back-to-back bowl games under him. What sort of similarities do you see between what he's done at Colorado State and what Gary Anderson is doing at Oregon State?
Well, I think they're different. Bobo walked into a pretty good situation at Colorado State. Important to remember, he's considered one of the brightest young offensive minds in college football. When they plucked him from Georgia, that was big for them. Anderson walked into a program that needed a lot of rejuvenation. I'm not here to throw the previous regime under the bus, but so I think that, and you know, like you said, they've gone to back-to-back bowl games. We've seen improvement from Anderson year 1 to Anderson year 2, but right now Colorado State has done a lot more in 2 seasons than Oregon State has.
Yeah, I think they definitely got a lot more swag. You know, with those 2 winning seasons back-to-back, that's huge. And so I think the confidence, they only want to get better, right? They don't want to go back. So they're only going to get better. And, you know, being able to play a Pac-12 team to, you know, kick off a new stadium in a new season is going to be a big-time game.
And the last time they played a Pac-12 team was Colorado, right? And Colorado...
Yep. Yeah, it wasn't
pretty for Colorado State. So they're going to be even more excited, I think, to play a Pac-12 team.
And Evanson, you brought up the whole new stadium aspect. You know, if a lot of people like to downplay, okay, you know, how much do the fans play a role? Have you opened up a new stadium before?
I did. Stanford. It was really cool.
That does not count.
You know, it was pretty quiet. It was pretty quiet. Oh God, don't do me like that with the year. Oh God.
I don't know why I want to say
rude. But
we're
yeah, it was
all
special.
a similar age, you know.
Yeah.
But how much? I mean, how much does that play a role? You know that, I mean, this team is going to be ready to play. I know Mike Bobo had talked about how he's been talking to the guys about it since January. he wanted to downplay nerves, but still get them excited and know that they need to set the tone for what they are trying to build, why they should be playing in a $220 million stadium. How much does fan? As
a player, I want to get a W. I want to leave. I want to leave a L for that first home opener. So, that's a lot of. I guess it's exciting to be able to do that.
What was the rowdiest away situation that you played in?
LSU, hands down.
Okay, so
God, yeah.
Okay, and so that's a great example, right? Because they almost won that game. There were multiple points. I know. Sorry to make you relive it, but the idea of taking the crowd out of it, right?
Yeah.
You can punch them in the mouth, surprise the crowd. That's huge. But you go out and you score right away on the first possession.
Oh yeah.
Sure. People get quiet.
They get quiet. They were scared. LSU fans were really scared. I remember.
And
then Alexis Serna was scared afterward on the flight home.
It seems like this group too is talking about also the importance of, for the Beavers, to jump out in the first quarter, not let Colorado State set the tone. And what is Coach Anderson kind of talking about with this group about the importance of trying to jump out there early?
Just to quiet the crowd down a little bit. Once that crowd gets involved, it's tough. It's trouble. But if you can get that crowd to just be quiet, and you guys can just run your offense at normal pace, you'll be good to go.
I think a big thing is early on, no big mistakes. You don't want to miss a huge tackle. You don't want to turn the ball over right away. Of course, there are going to be mistakes, right? Like, it's ugly the first week of the season, and they're playing earlier than a lot of people. But if you can just mitigate that, get through it, score, not turn the ball over, not give up a sack, that's huge.
They have a great offense led by Nick Stevens. They got one of the best receivers in the country, Michael Gallup. As you look at this team as a whole, what do you think is going to be their biggest challenge, the Beavers? Is it going to be just kind of playing clean football? Or I mean, what is kind of difficult about Colorado State, you think?
Well, here's what I think is going to be a challenge. This is Oregon State's third quarterback in 3 years. So it's been great that Luton's been on campus. He's had early chemistry with people, but it takes time to develop that in a game. And can his offensive line protect him? That's my biggest question about the offense.
Yeah, I think the running game is going to be the most important part of the game, honestly. It'll make Luton's job a lot easier if we can run the ball well. So.
All right, we got a lot more discussion coming up, but right now Evanson is hitting the Beavers store to get us ready for the upcoming season.
Hey Beaver Nation, this week we're at Colorado State. We got these lovely tank tops right here for the ladies. They look great. Love the gray, the retro look a little bit. And then you got the shorts. It's gonna be nice and hot, in Oregon and in Colorado. So make sure you guys are looking fly. Make your way to the OSU Beaver store. Fans start here.
This Oregon State program has made progress.
They've kept their teams fighting all year long.
Hopefully we can build on it and understand what it takes to just stick in it and keep on digging.
Yes, they are rebuilding, but they are resurgent. Daryl Garrison, their quarterback, is going to be the key if that's going to be a complete resurgency.
Fumble, but Garrison picks it up, and he's going to win the game. Unbelievable. What a fitting finish.
Found a way against a very good football team. Go Beavers, how about that?
Riding a wave of momentum after a milestone victory.
Give it to Nall. Ryan a hole. Dives over the right side. Ryan is in. Touchdown Beavers, and they regain the lead.
And for the first time since 2007, Oregon State will win the Civil War.
Welcome to the Pac-12.
Back here on Talkin Beavers, and it's time to welcome our old friend Mike Parker to the show. Mike, thanks for joining us today.
Great to be with you again, Amanda. Really excited to get this thing started Saturday at Colorado State, and not only for the Beavers, but the first game of the college football season. A lot of eyes, I know, will be on that game.
So, Mike, Coach A has been careful not to throw out going to a bowl game as the team's primary goal this season. I know a lot of the players, though, have. What is it going to take for them to achieve that?
Gary is a little subtle when it comes to, he won't come out and say, we hope to be playing in a bowl game, but he'll stop short and say it's a long season, 14 weeks, and we hope to be playing longer after that. I mean, that's not really terribly subtle. That's a direct reference to what they believe is possible for them this year, and that would be another game, a postseason game And I think they have a shot to get there, but the biggest thing that has to happen is improvement on the defensive side, starting with stopping the run up front on the defensive line. I think they're deeper, they're bigger, stronger, faster, and deeper on the D line. They are going to need, perhaps at some point, Craig Evans to be part of that rotation, the highly regarded transfer. But I think even without him, they've got guys that can make plays up front. They're better conditioned and have a better understanding of Kevin Clune's defensive schemes, with Kevin as the D coordinator for his second year. The linebackers have to play better against the run, but they're also in better shape, and I think are primed to make a big improvement defensively. To me, that's where it all starts, on defense.
So the offense is really interesting as well. Obviously, kind of an incredible backfield, especially with the addition of Thomas Tyner. But you have a new quarterback, still a lot of questions in the passing game. What do you think is going to be the biggest challenge there?
Well, to get to a bowl game, the defense has to improve first and foremost, in my opinion, because offensively, even if there isn't a big jump in the passing game, I think, as you allude to, Amanda, there are so many weapons in that backfield that when it all comes, when push comes to shove, the ability to get behind an offensive line that I think has talent and experience and give the ball to a Ryan Nall or an Art Pierce or Thomas Tyner or a freshman in Calvin Tyler or a transfer in Trey Johnson, that's a lot of weaponry out of the offensive backfield there, and Jake Luton can make plays with his legs as well. But let's not kid ourselves either. For the Beavers to really make a big jump, the passing game has to be drastically improved, and I think the 6'7" Jake Luton, hungry for an opportunity on this stage, throwing to the likes of Noah Togiai and Jordan Villeman, and when Seth Collins gets ready, and a dynamic freshman in Isaiah Hodges, Trevon Bradford, I think we're talking about a lot of options for Luton in the passing game. So defense, the passing game, if that all comes together the way I think it will, then Gary can get more than his 14 weeks.
All right, thanks so much, Mike. We'll see you back here on Friday. Time now for our Les Schwab quick fix, and we are getting our analyst's take on just what it's going to take for the Beavers to get their first bowl berth since 2013. You heard Mike's answer. He thinks it starts with defense. What do you think is going to be the biggest thing that this team's got to do to get to a bowl?
I like Mike's answer of defense, because certainly they have been pretty bad, specifically statistically, the last few years. But I also agree with the comment about the passing game. The offense needs to be a lot better, more dynamic. We know they can run the ball. Obviously, they have Ryan Nall. They have good things behind him. But they got to be able to pass, and early on. And then again, Luton can throw, but he needs time to make a throw.
Oh, yeah. Defenses are going to challenge us. They're just going to stack the box, right? Let's stop the run, and we'll win. So if we can be able to throw the ball well, they'll be all right.
Evanson, as you take a look at this offense, we're going to talk a little bit more about the running game in a little bit, and Jake Luton as well. Do you feel like they have the guys to, is it just going to be, again, pound the football, or do they have the guys that they can actually be a little bit more balanced this year, you think?
Oh, yeah, I think they definitely have some threat on the outside with Jordan Villeman, Hodgkins, Tyrell Bradford. I mean, they got guys, So
Timeout.
What's it going to take for Jordan Villeman to be back in your good graces? That's
Yeah. Listen, Jordan Villeman, if you're watching this, I've been excited about you since you got on campus, and I would like to see you live up to the hype at this point. He's got a body built for the red zone. Yeah. And has not really done much in his time on campus. So I don't want to hear this Jordan Villeman stuff until he does something.
I agree, but also, last year he was dealing with some injuries and some personal stuff, so it was tough for him. So I truly believe he's going to be all right this year, and I think he's going to live up to the hype.
If he can become reliable for them, it would be huge, because I don't know how you take him away because of his body. He's big, he's pretty strong, but we got to see it early on.
Yeah. I agree. Right. And then
I like Amanda's question. What's it going to take for him to get back in the races?
And obviously it's going to, we'll miss out too. We'll miss out on Seth Collins, the first couple games. That's a big loss. Obviously, the guy's super athletic and definitely creates. You as a defensive coordinator, you have to be ready for him.
All right, Jake Luton's play, no doubt a major factor when it comes to the team making a bowl game. But how much leeway will he have with Daryl Garrettson waiting in the wings? And first, we are heading down to Corvallis with Lindsay to get the top stories surrounding the Beavers as we approach the first game of the season. Well, there are a lot of football teams who had zero interest in the eclipse fever sweeping across the nation this week. Oregon State football, not one of them. Reser Stadium was actually the first D1 stadium to witness the totality. You can see Coach A there soaking in the sights. You moved back practice an hour for the guys to take it in. And now it's time for a new segment that we are calling our standard TV and appliance headlines with our veteran reporter, Lindsay. She's going to be giving us all the hot topics out of Corvallis. Of course, week one, there's a ton of things to talk about. But what are kind of your top 3 storylines going into their first game of the season?
Well, first of all, I'm wondering maybe we should have redone this and made sure that the eclipse, was everyone wearing eclipse glasses? We don't need anyone to be going blind this weekend at Colorado State. Okay, so first of all, quarterbacks. The Beavers have finally settled on a quarterback. What does this mean for the future? Jake Luton is the guy. He's the one that Oregon State has been excited about for over a year. Daryl Garrettson's the backup now. Marcus McMaryion, gone. He's transferred. In this league, you tend to need more than one quarterback. Garrettson, to be honest, was underwhelming a lot last year. So if they have to go to him, can he lead them to wins? And then what happens if both of them get hurt, which did happen last year?
Right, Connor Blount, right? That's who we're down to.
The walk-on, who I think maybe has a scholarship now. Right? But it will be that. So it's all going to be about staying healthy.
That's good. Well, hopefully the O-line has been much improved over the year. Let's look at number 2. What's number 2 for us?
Who's going to be the emerging star on defense this year? Last year, the Beavers had a really pleasant surprise, got a boost from a freshman in Xavier Crawford, who was a freshman All-American. He did a lot last year defensively, but who can step into that role this year? Gary Anderson has publicly challenged the defensive line in particular, but they're going to need young bodies to step up, to give them stats, to do a lot, because again, you talk about the buys work out well this year, but the odds of staying healthy all season are low, so you want everyone to be able to contribute when they get on the field.
Obviously, I mean, Treston Decoud, huge part of the defense last year. Everybody loved him. Do you feel like the level of play is going to be down this year? You think those pieces will still be able to step up as you look across the defense this season?
Yeah, well, I think year 3 at this point, right? You got year 2 of Kevin Clune, so guys know his system, know what he's going to do. The foundation was laid with Kalani Sitake now at BYU. So it better not be a step down. You can't afford to have that happen in the Pac-12 North.
And they had some big goals. What they say, 30 sacks?
30 sacks and 30 takeaways. You know what, though? I like that. Just like I like that kids have been open this year about we want to go to a bowl game. I think you say it out loud and it makes you want to reach that goal, and then other people hold you accountable. So it'll be tough to get that, but I think they can do it.
And really getting to the bowl game all starts with Colorado State. You think that it's important to set the tone with this game?
This game is going to be huge. This is about setting the tone not just for your team and your community, but how about across the country? There are only 3 college football games being played this weekend. This is an opportunity on a national showcase to tell recruits what you're about, but also you got to win this game if you want to get bowl eligible. If they lose this game, it's going to be bad news Beavers going forward, I think.
And it sounds like, I mean, with the way we're talking about Colorado State, this is a good team, that it's important for them to really set the tone in the first quarter, to come out, new stadium. They're going to have to do that early.
Absolutely. And Gary Anderson has talked about one thing he's really interested to see with the defense is it's been going well in practice, but what happens when they get punched in the mouth on the road? And so we're going to know right away. I think that you need to come out right. No mistakes. Okay, that's a big thing. No turnovers if you're the offense, and if you're the defense, force a turnover early. That type of momentum is huge.
All right, thanks, Lindsay. Much more to come here on Talking Beavers. Plenty of returning stars for the Beavers on both sides of the ball. Who is poised for a breakout season? We're going to crown our MVP for the year. And that, of course, includes the running back crew, which is loaded. How they plan to use all those weapons coming up after the break.
That's not my personality. I didn't come in. I'm not a big, loud, obnoxious guy, and I don't think that's a good trait as a leader. If someone comes in and right away tries to just take over, you're probably not going to get the respect of a lot of your guys. So I came in and I try to put in all the work necessary, let the guys know that, I'm here to work, and I think over time that's what makes a good leader. And I think in the game of football, you're never going to be looked at as a leader until you start making plays on the field, and the guys can look to you as as a game warrior. And so I think when that time comes, I'll be ready to step up.
Make sure to join us Friday at 9 p.m. on Go Beavs for our very first Go Beavs show of the season. You're going to check out our full sit-down interview with Jake Luton. And, of course, speaking with Jake Luton, people are pretty excited to see him, what he can do come Saturday. Coming into camp, I mean, we really had no idea who Gary Anderson was leaning towards, but he named him pretty quickly. Why do you feel like he's the guy? Why do you feel like he's going to succeed?
Evanston and I have texted about this, and I like his points better than mine in regards to kind of, I don't know if deck stacked against Marcus McMaryion is the right way to say it, right? But they want their guy.
Right. And, the type of offense that they're running, right? I mean, it's a spread offense, and Luton fits that offense perfectly. And, obviously it's Coach Anderson's guy, and, the guy's proven himself. And so I'm excited, and I know, and I think it's also a great thing that Coach Anderson let those guys know early, Marcus know early.
I agree.
So he could go ahead,
Absolutely.
Fresno, and do his thing. So I respect Coach Anderson for that. That's huge.
Don't you think it's big, too, for the team? Like, don't you think, like, when you played, didn't you want to know who was in charge of the huddle?
Oh, yeah. Early on, you want to know who's going to be your guy.
Yep.
So I respect Coach Anderson for that. It's big time.
And it seems like, if you listen to Coach Anderson, that he's, taking the leadership aspect of it too, which, even in that interview, you heard him talk about, you don't want a guy coming in and just saying, this is my way. And, you got to earn the respect, you got to earn the trust of your teammates. But I do wonder, if things go bad early, how much leeway does he have? How long would they stick with him? Do you think that, again, he'll have a significant amount of time to figure things out, because he is really, really new?
Well, to me, the fact that Anderson named him so early communicates that he was head and shoulders above McMaryion and Garrettson. It didn't take a long time. So I would guess that means he gets quite a bit of leeway because he already won the quarterback battle, the first one. I think that an important thing to note, too, is even though he's new, he's been on campus for a long time. So he's had time to develop friendships, relationships, chemistry, does have that leadership role. And just in talking to him, I think if things went kind of haywire, he's old enough that he'd be able to walk into a huddle and say, hey, we're going to be okay. This is the play we're going to run. I don't think he'll panic.
Right. Yeah. I think just the experience. He's been obviously not D1 ball, or I guess one D1 ball school, but he's been in those situations that he had to, command and be a captain. So.
And it seems like, and he was talking about it just yesterday as they get ready for this game, he feels like the timing is there with the receivers. He feels comfortable with the receivers, so it'll be interesting to see how that shakes out. Because obviously the passing game is going to be,
like Ev said, they're going to stack the box. Yeah. So he better be able to play right away.
So one thing they don't have to worry about is running backs. Knock on wood, of course. Hopefully, provided everybody stays healthy. Evanston, when you look at this group, again, Art Pierce had flashes. Obviously, we know what Ryan Nall can do. You bring in Thomas Tyner. You got, again, the TCU transfer. How will all these pieces work? How do you see them utilizing all these weapons?
That's a tough situation. Those four backs, I can't even imagine if I was in that mix. It'd be tough. But yeah, it's really cool to see those group of guys, and they're fighting it out, man. And obviously there's a sort of sense of competition and love, obviously, but they all want to be the starter. They want to get the most carries. God, that's a deep back. Good luck with picking who, because we're all here saying Nall's going to be the guy. Yeah. But hey, you never know. There might be a game that you're like, okay. All right, we got another guy here.
Well, the big thing about, a lot of people are excited about Tyner, obviously, the type of recruit he was when he first went to Oregon, what he's done in this state, being familiar with him. He's a different type of back than the other two. He's very fast. Important to remember, Tyner has been a Pac-12 track athlete, a sprinter. But Ev, I want you to explain to us, because you were a very good running back.
Yeah.
What makes Ryan Nall so good? How much of it is just his physical build, and then what are the other things?
The presence, the 6'3", 235 or 230. As a defender, if a guy's coming downhill, your second thought, you're like, man, I'm gonna go for this guy's ankles or knees, you know what I'm saying? So you're already putting fear in those defenders' eyes. The speed, when you see him pulling away and people are like, yeah, right, he's not gonna get caught. He doesn't, because he's got that speed, that long stride. And then the vision's there too, right? And then the understanding of the offense and where this block is gonna go and that block, and then obviously you can pass block. In the Pac-12, as a running back, if you cannot pass block, good luck. You're not going to be in there long.
You said that when you started at Oregon State, that's all you did for most of your freshman year at practice.
I did. I took a lot of shots to the face because I'm obviously 5'9", 9. And so, yeah, you just kind of take it. But it's not easy. And Nall's been able to prove he can do all 4 phases of the game.
And how about Noah Tokiai coming back? That's going to be
You want to talk about pass blocking. That's big. It's in college football in general right now, it's kind of hard to find a true tight end. People were so excited about him, then he gets hurt. But Luton had said early this summer that he felt like Noah was already healthy, looked good on the field, and that he had instant chemistry with him. That's a game changer. outside of Stanford, really, in the Pac-12, there hasn't been a team that has been as reliant on a tight end.
Yeah. Even at Oregon State, we haven't had a real tight end in a long time that could block and catch the ball, you know, so it's been a while. And so I think the coaching staff, they obviously know how special this kid really is.
One guy the offense will be missing, Victor Bolden. Did you see this from this week? An incredible kickoff return from him. 104 yards for the touchdown, just turning on the Jets. You can guess why that is. Our Comcast built for speed. And he's still trying to work his way into the NFL. He was an undrafted free agent, certainly making a very strong case for a roster spot with that. 3 guys from last year's class still trying to work their way in. Of course, Victor Bolden, Trustin Day Coods with the Houston Texans, but he's missed a significant portion of camp, so he's still hoping to make the 53-man roster. And Sean Harlow with the Atlanta Falcons. Out of that class of guys, especially Ev, a guy who played in the league, who do you think has the best upside?
Victor Bolden, just that return right there.
That's going to earn you a spot, right?
He's going to be hanging on for a while. And also, on top of that, with those, he had camp legs. He has camp legs right now, and he's able to return a ball like that.
Right.
That's pretty impressive.
Right. What is, as a guy who went undrafted as well, what are these early preseason games like? What is camp like when you are, again, an undrafted running back versus a guy that's drafted in the first and second round? What is life like?
Preseason game are huge. You know, it's so funny. They tell guys, you know, vets are like, oh, get rid of the, you know, those preseason games. No. Because for these guys, it's everything.
Sure.
I mean, it's probably the most important games they'll play in their careers.
Well, and so many of the guys I've covered in the NFL, it's not even just the team you're with, it's getting that film, get a chance someplace. So
got 31 other teams.
Luck. Absolutely. Well, still ahead, Nick Saban has a unique idea on how to select bowl teams, and could it make it easier for teams like Oregon State to be bowl bound? We're going to discuss after the break. Okay, it is prediction style for our Wilson Motor Game Balls, and we're going to go with our breakout stars of the year. Lindsay, who do you have?
It's got to be Jake Luton, you guys. Everyone's been talking about him for over a year. I want to believe the hype. Coaches will tell you this is the hardest position to play in sports and the most important. So he's got to step up early, often, and stay healthy.
Okay, Evanson, who is your season MVP?
Ryan Nall. That's easy.
Easy.
You got to be able to run the ball. We got to be able to run the ball. If we can't run the ball, then we're going to be in trouble because we're going to put more pressure on Luton. We don't want to do that.
High hopes for the offense then, guys, right? That's what it sounds like between you two.
Evanson's cheating. He only picked Nall because he's a running back.
It's also very
when James Dockery
right?
pick every secondary member.
Or Victor Bolden, because it was his cousin.
That's true.
So, you know. All right. Well, an interesting topic in college football is always, of course, the college football playoff. Nick Saban has a unique idea for how he wants to do it. One, he wants Power 5 schools to only play Power 5 schools, like do a 10-conference game schedule and 2 Power 5 games. And then he wants the bowl teams, wants to eliminate the 6 wins you need to get in, instead using a power ranking and choose like they do the NCAA tournament. What do you guys think of both of those ideas?
Okay, number one, it is so easy if you're Nick Saban at Alabama to say we should never play an FCS school. Like, of course not. You're Alabama. You win all the time. If you're Oregon State, you, quite frankly, need some guarantee games early on.
Yeah, you definitely need those games early in the season so you can kind of get your wheels going. Also, it's financially, it's a huge, for those FCS schools, they need those games.
Yeah.
It helps big time.
And it helps schools that are not in the Power 5 like Boise State, which has been a darling of college football over the last decade, become known because they knock off Power 5 teams. There's already such a separation between Power 5 and everyone else. We don't need to make the gap bigger.
And even recruiting, you'll be shocked. Those small school guys that are getting recruited, they love to play those big time teams.
That's a great point.
As far as the 6-win eligibility for bowl games, do you think that should go away? Should a 4 or 5 Pac-12 team get in over a 6-win somebody else?
Well, this is the argument you have every year, right? When there are conferences that are much, much tougher than others. But this is the rule. This goes back to finances because bowl games are all about money. And is Nick Saban going to take time out of planning for the college football playoff to form this committee? Like, you know, how many people are on the men's basketball selection committee? I mean, give me a break.
Yeah.
He also didn't even want to worry about the eclipse, so who cares what he has to do, right? He said I saw it on the Weather
he gave
Channel.
Portland, Oregon a shout out, so that was pretty cool.
Oh, see, okay, that's good.
Nice.
All right, well, this crew will be here with you all season long, and we will see you back here for Go Beavs on Friday night at 9 p.m. We'll see you then.